Hello and welcome to Tuesday. I am going to invite my friend in here. See if I can do this. Oh, there she is. Who is hello, another Mother Circle facilitator. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Hi. I never know if technology is going to work the way I hope it does, so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, we're all just in this spontaneous combustion together.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? I love that you said that. Actually, we were just talking about spontaneous combustion last night. So I have a kind of a soft place in my heart for that concept.
Awesome.
Maybe one day we'll talk more about that. But we're here to talk about Mother Circle today. Are you um so tell me a little bit about you, Mandy, where you're from, and I'm thinking maybe you have a circle starting soon, but let me know the details.
Yes, so I'm in Southern California. I'm in Escondido, which is part of northern San Diego County. And I have two cohorts beginning towards the end of this month, September 22nd for in person and September 26th for virtual. I led a dual cohort this way back in the spring, and it was so rich and connective and beautiful. I just am thrilled to get to do it again and get to continue to benefit from the material that's in Mother Circle as we share it in wider and wider and wider circles. And yeah, I love that there's circles happening all over the states and the globe this fall, and even Kimberly launching today,
Mhm.
who Mother Circle's work is formed by and influenced by her work. So yeah. When are you starting?
Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that you're running two cohorts congruently because my last round of circle, I just had this desire to do that and I got a little scared, so I only did an in-person circle. And this round I was like, on the fence, like, what do I want to do? And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it out there. So I'm doing my virtual is starting on Thursday, the 5th, and my in person is starting then Sunday, which I think is like the 8th or 9th or something like that. I can only keep the dates
That's
like a week in advance. So, um, I'm excited. I'm thrilled to see how this goes, doing it kind of congruently.
hmm
Um, so I'm glad to hear that you really enjoyed it whenever
I,
you did it.
I I'm sure if the interest is there and the enrollment is there, I'll continue to do that, because what was so helpful about it is this time it will be inversed for me, but when I did it the first time, it sounds like what you're doing is having the virtual circle happen first. It was a wonderful way to just, again, refamiliarize myself with all the material and more from the role of facilitator as opposed to, being a participant, receiving fully the first few times moving through Mother Circle.
Mhm.
So that was really beneficial. And what I was not anticipating, but that certainly happened, because I am very much, as a body worker, as someone who lives very much in the world of like the relational field, this is what I treasure, is like gathering with women or with just people in general in the flesh.
Yes.
And I did not anticipate that the virtual circle would be as potent as it was. But then the reality is, when we did this with Kimberly and we went through the facilitator training, all of that was virtual and it was so
Mhm.
meaningful
Mhm.
for me. So that's what kind of inspired me to. There are just so many people that we want to be able to reach. And for all kinds of, practical reasons, we can't all gather in person. And the material goes so deep and so quickly, I find, is connective to participants, that the virtual circle was easily as meaningful. And in fact, the women that forged that circle clearly will have ongoing lifelong relationships and be invested in one another's lives in mothering, and they're spread out all over the states. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
wishes to all the women that will be gathering in the virtual ethers or in person. And you're in St. Louis?
Yes, yes. I'm in St. Louis, so I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, middle of the country. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because these concepts I see are hit the coast a lot more, and then they kind of come to the middle of the
Mm,
country slower.
mm,
So I see the people in my community um, discussing, connecting in new ways. I think the pandemic really made us question like what's important and how to
mm.
connect and how being in that space is important. And I think that we're still here in St. Louis trying to navigate some of those waters that are deep and feeling, you know.
Sure.
Um, it's not as easy for us in the Midwest, I feel like, to get into our feels, if you will.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's been an interesting journey to go deep with people. I'm just by nature, as a little kid, I've always been a deep thinker. So this Mother Circle material has been like coming home. You know, it's been very like, oh, this is my place and my space for sure.
So when you think back on your personal experience of the material, which classes really stand out to you as maybe something that you're still returning to or reflecting on, or that you can feel it in your mothering on a
Mhm,
daily basis that
mhm, mhm.
shift happened?
Well, I think from a mothering perspective, it's even different than like just a woman mother role in the world. You know, like I definitely see how it reverberates in my mothering. I have four kids from 10 to 2, you know, so I have a range of children
Woo!
and mothering is always happening, right?
Yeah.
But I think that when I invest in my own self and my personal experience in the world, that reverberates in my mothering too, right? So,
Mm,
you know, one of the most powerful things in Mother Circle was the mover mirror witness
mhm,
and returning to that big life event of birth, but like not even my own birth. I mean,
mhm.
I remember, I mean, I've done it now several times with people in person, but also in the virtual space. And I like to tell this little quick story about that. When we were in the Mother Circle with Kimberly, I was sitting in a McAllister's deli and not knowing that we were going to be doing something like that. So
Wow.
in my
Mhm,
group, I'm like, I'm in a public place, so I have to be the witness. Like, it's the only way that it's going to really work, right?
mhm.
And I just remember being in this public place, sitting on the edge of my seat, earbuds in my ear, like totally in the experience that was happening. The rest of the world just like sort of melted away, you know?
Yeah,
And it was so healing for myself in my own birth experience, but also just to witness and see someone else be in such a tender moment, like recalling a tender moment. It was so profound, in even just as in the witness role, which I know you know what I'm talking about with that.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
think you just underscored ultimately what I believe and what my experience is of the power of witnessing is that is actually the healing tool or the healing modality.
Mhm.
Like to be able to do these deep inquiries and reflections on how, for instance, birth has transformed us or any part of our mothering and have these revelations of sorts is powerful, it's transformative, but it's actually the piece where you are being witnessed compassionately, bravely
Mhm.
by your peers that is most akin to a healing
Mhm.
modality and really like the original healing
Mhm.
modality of just villaging.
Yes.
um, it is it's the trusting relationship and being seen and heard for who you are in a trusting, safe, and brave space without need of any other feedback or questioning, just true essential presence. I love that you speak to that, because ultimately that's what witnessing is. And the material and the arc of Mother Circle actually really helps build that container for witnessing very quickly, more so than any um, outlined material that I have worked with before. It's so direct and clear and very helpful for boundary maintenance and camaraderie, just getting to experience that. Like, I think I agree, where witnessing other people's experiences and the moments that they capture from their birth experience, or from them beginning their family in ways that are not necessarily biological birth, but some other moment in the womb continuum that they're moving through, was some of the most helpful, and I think harmonizing or like uniting force of really bringing a sense of togetherness with the other participants, is recognizing that our experiences are not the same, but that there is still this deep, like abiding harmony between our lives and experiences as mothers, even when the circumstances are wildly different of what we experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I'm thinking about this, as you're talking about how does this kind of affect mothering, I have one kiddo that's like a deeply feeling kiddo, and it's hard to be in the world like that. And he has a lot of anger stuff and a lot of just big emotions. And being able to take that experience of the powerful witnessing and being with him and witnessing his big emotions,
Mm-hmm.
it and because it's one thing to read about it, right? Like it's one thing to do all the things the parenting things say, like
Mm-hmm.
get down on their level and do all these like gentle beautiful things, but it's another thing to have the experience of being witnessed,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming from the witnessing place, knowing how powerful that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's transformed the way that his anger gets handled, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think the various somatic and nervous system tools that are also integrated into the program are a key piece of that too, because
Absolutely.